Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
Infowars has more than 15 YouTube channels and about 3 million subscribers. Our main channel has 1.854 or 1,854,000 plus subscribers. Now, they've been gaming the system for a long time to shut down nationalistic or patriotic media, saying we're right-wing or saying we're extremist. Well, it doesn't matter who we are. We have a right to free speech, don't we? As long as we don't violate the rules. Well, now Zuckerberg has come out and said he's going to restrict conservative news like communist China does, calling it fake news. And Google, that owns YouTube, has announced, and they've done it now 2 weeks ago, that they're going to basically make you click the bell in your notifications. We're going to show you how to do that, or you won't get all the channels that you've subscribed to and you won't get the videos. Now, why are they doing this? It's more than just censoring. They want you to see the videos that they feed you below and beside the videos you're looking at that are corporately sponsored so they make more money. They're taking the you out of YouTube. So we're in this information war, and it's more important than ever that you promote the videos, that you like the videos, and that you send them on to others. Because the answer to the attempt to shut us down and restrict free speech that's openly now happening is for us to redouble our efforts. We're winning the culture war as true classical liberals that made this country great. We're restoring the Renaissance. So again, if you want to get our videos, so you can make your decision whether you want to see them or not. After all, that's why you subscribed. YouTube's had this since they started 12 years ago or whatever it was. And they're fundamentally changing it so you don't get it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is promoting fake news and trash news and establishment news. It's killing real independent news. But we the people, by taking action, can break the back of this system. So please, click on the bell so you get the notifications and so you get in your feed the videos and channels you've subscribed to. I'm Alex Jones for Infowars.com.
Well, by now, everyone out there has heard about this new agenda to curtail the fake news, whatever the establishment deems to be non-important or, of course, counter to whatever agenda it's trying to push. Well, lo and behold, George Soros once again rears his ugly head. So we've heard now that Facebook is going to be helping to determine what stories are disputed. They're partnering up with an organization known as the Poynter Institute. Well, Poynter Institute, they have this international fact-checking network. It is openly funded by the Soros Open Society Foundation. So I'm sure that there isn't going to be any internal bias there. Now, Facebook says that if the fact-checking organizations determine that a certain story is fake, it will get flagged and disputed. And according to this Facebook announcement, there's going to be a link to the corresponding article explaining why. Stories that have been disputed may also appear lower in the newsfeed. So that means they're never going to be trending. Now, this article points out that this third-party organization, the International Fact-Checking Network, is hosted by the Poynter Institute for Media Studies. Now, this is funded by Soros's Open Society Foundations, as well as the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Google, and the National Endowment for Democracy. The Poynter Institute is also an online college. It has 6 employees. It's kind of a diploma mill. And there was a story out of ABC that the Poynter Institute was actually there covering the rollout of Obamacare, and they would not give fair use time to Republicans. The Republicans said, well, we'll pay you to get some fair time, and they would not allow it. So I'm sure we're going to be seeing a lot of the same type of bias with this new fact-checking algorithm and these, these 6 employees. I mean, at least it's not the 2 employees that are running Snopes, the lady and her husband with their cats. They are running Snopes. This is who is in charge now of the fact-checking that's out there. But this is why this is happening, because the media knows that they are increasingly becoming non-important. And Julian Assange said just that in a radio interview that he gave with Sean Hannity. This was Thursday. He blasted U.S. media outlets. He said that the power possessed by journalists had greatly diminished in recent years. They are increasingly not very important. And of course, Sean Hannity agreed. He said, so true, so true. And that's what I like about the guy, because, any other media pundit or they would, host, they would consider themselves to just be indisposable. But he was like, it's true. it's true. The media has greatly delegitimized themselves. Now, Assange characterized the press as a paper tiger in the 2016 election and said the rise of new media had eroded the influence of traditional outlets. The old press is less important, and he took particular issue with the liberal press and the degree of bias that chased away readers. He said readers see it, they feel it, they don't like being lectured or told what to do, and they rebel against it. And that is absolutely the truth. People can smell when something's not right. They can smell when people are trying to sell them a fishy story, and people are pushing back against that, and they want information from alternative channels. So it'll be interesting to see what the pushback is going to be like once people realize that they are being cut off from information altogether. This is just an alternative version of the internet kill switch. If the globalists don't like something, they can just push it down in the newsfeed. Speaking of fake news, Kurt Eichenwald was on Tucker Carlson's show, and this is Newsweek's senior editor. This guy, in September, he tweeted out a conspiracy theory that he believed Donald Trump was institutionalized in a mental hospital for a nervous breakdown in the 90s, which is why he won't release his medical records. Now, he promptly deleted this tweet, but obviously, you know, people save bold statements like that. So he was on Tucker Carlson tonight, where Tucker Carlson was like, okay, man, you're saying this. It seems kind of crazy. Why would you say something like this? Give us some proof. Give us the story. Who told you this? And he just goes into this long diatribe about all of his CIA buddies who are sitting on the couch with him. And he keeps pulling up this folder that's showcasing a binder with the label Tucker Carlson's falsehoods. And so he's trying to bring up the CIA and all these fallen agents. And Tucker Carlson's like, whoa, this is loony. You understand you're coming off as totally loony right now. It's a little nutty. I got to be honest. It was the most bizarre exchange. You've got to check it out. It's up in our article is up at Infowars.com. You know, but I've met Tucker Carlson. He's actually a really great person. Someone you meet in person. He's just like his on-air personality, just like when he busted out laughing when that Clinton rape protester was bombarded the set there that day, and he just busted out laughing. I mean, 'cause that's how he is. He's authentic. He's a good guy. You know, unless he's a great actor, you know, he's a really good. And so this is, you know, I feel like these authentic media personalities are starting to really rise up to the top now that people like Megyn Kelly, they're starting to show their true colors and their bias. People aren't buying it anymore, just like they're not buying Megyn Kelly's book. Now, the New York Times, of course, is coming out claiming that Trump is a threat to democracy. Not the biased news, not the fake news that's been pushing a certain agenda, but this is the mainstream media laying the groundwork to justify the overthrow of Trump. They're trying to delegitimize him in the mind of the American voter before he even gets in. So again, Clifford Cunningham of Infowars.com points out how the New York Times is owned by anti-Trump billionaire Carlos Slim. So they're right there. They're going to have an editorial slant. But the New York Times is advising Americans to remain vigilant because President-elect Donald Trump is a threat to our democratic system. And they go on to say that he has these authoritarian indicators, anti-democratic tendencies, including a failure to reject violence unambiguously, a readiness to curtail rivals' civil liberties, and the denial of the legitimacy of elected governments. And they're using as an example in the campaign, he encouraged violence among supporters. He pledged to prosecute Hillary Clinton, since no one else will. He threatened legal action against unfriendly media and suggested that he might not accept the election results. All of this written without any irony of the fact that it was actually Hillary Clinton supporters who were getting violent at rallies, and the fact that Hillary Clinton needs to be prosecuted, yet she's been so protected by the Obama administration that no one is coming after her. And then, of course, suggesting that he might not accept the election results. Well, I think we can all see how that turned out. Hillary Clinton and her supporters are being totally crazy wingnuts. And of course, they also did not point out the fact that Obama himself had unprecedented use of executive actions. People were calling him the dictator in charge. He tried to railroad his agenda through Congress with the help of then Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, who did all sorts of procedural changes. And there was absolutely no input or pushback by Republicans in Congress. It just wasn't allowed. But that's fine. He wasn't a dictator. He was a great, great man. I'm sure Obama's legacy will live on in infamy. But the real threat to our democracy, of course, are these defector electors, okay? These feckless electors who are saying that they aren't going to uphold their oath and vote the way they are supposed to. So now a Republican elector has come out slamming this coup d'etat attempt to overturn a fair and legal election. This is Alan Braun. He's a Republican elector from Des Moines, Iowa, and he blasted this move as a partisan ploy and refused to be affected by it. He said, "What the Hamilton electors are suggesting amounts to a coup d'etat to overturn a fair and legal election. I refuse to cooperate with them." And he is just going on. He's kind of keeping a tally on his Twitter roll about how many pages, letters he's getting every single day. He's getting FedEx packages. He's getting phone calls. One day he got 58 letters. Another day he got 96 letters. Again, these are those Saul Alinsky tactics we keep telling you all about they've got their Saul Alinsky tactics to just bombard people with letters, information, demand they respond, demand they boycott Breitbart, don't sell your advertising on Breitbart. They bombard you with letters and kind of stymie any effort. But it's having the reverse effect because this guy is completely annoyed and he sees it for what it is, which is this partisan ploy. It has nothing to do with an election being stolen or the Russians interfering with the election. But he's also complaining about receiving a phone call from someone who's screaming about the Russians for more than 5 minutes. And this is just irritating him. But of course, this is all fruitless because as we reported yesterday, 330 Republican electors were contacted by the AP. They found just one who said he wouldn't cast his vote for Trump. I wonder if that was the one Texas elector here. I'll get to him in just a minute. But a Michigan elector came out and said, this was in response to that video that all the Hollywood celebrities came out once again lecturing the American people on how they need to vote and how they need to think. Well, this is a Michigan elector. He came out saying, I'm sorry, but anti-Trump celebrities are not smarter than the American people. I don't care what it is that you guys have to say. You're not, I don't care how many celebrities think that they are smarter. They're not smarter than the American people or the people of Michigan. And it's like, hallelujah, finally time for these Hollywood celebrities to lose their power. Here's one celebrity who still kind of has his head on straight, I guess, Arnold Schwarzenegger, calling on Americans to stop whining. He says, when someone is elected, you get 100% behind them and you help them. Of course, he is also going to be the new host of Celebrity Apprentice, so he knows what side his bread is buttered on, but still, they're not all absolutely crazy. So now getting back to this Texas elector, he kind of first came out famously cited that, said that he wasn't going to be voting for Donald Trump. He wasn't going to vote for Hillary either, but he was just going to choose a Republican of his liking. Well, not only did this guy create a 9/11 charity fund, and then he used that 9/11 email address to sign up for an Ashley Madison account to cheat on his wife with his 3 kids. But apparently he lied about being a 9/11 first responder for. So this is Chris Suprin, and he said that he responded with the Manassas Park, Virginia Fire Department after the 3rd plane hit the Pentagon. But an investigation revealed that the department he was among wasn't even amongst those who were responding to the attacks. And he didn't even join the fire department until October 2001, a whole month after these attacks. So this is probably why this guy, Chris Suprin, had to hire a PR agency to handle his wild claims. Everyone was thinking, who is this guy? Why does he have a PR agency helping him out? It's because he's going to have a ton of negative press now that people realize he's set up this whole 9/11 charity, and I wonder what he did with that money. He wasn't even a first responder. He's a total fraud. So I don't know who elected him to be our elector, but he needs to be out. Now I want to shift gears here to a story out of Germany. We had a 12-year-old try to blow up a German Christmas market. Now, this was a 12-year-old German Iraqi boy. He tried to detonate a bomb at a Christmas market in Germany, and this was last month. He planted another explosive device near the town hall a couple of days later, but they were able to get him before anyone was injured. Focus magazine cited security and judicial sources saying the boy was strongly radicalized, and he was apparently instructed by an unknown member of the militant group Islamic State. So like I said, nobody was hurt, but this boy was born in Germany. Nobody knows how was he radicalized, but here in Germany, he's below the age of criminal responsibility. So this is why ISIS goes after these young targets, because they fly under the radar and they're going to get less severe forms of punishment. And this is another reason why we are having, issues with bringing refugees, bringing people we can't vet into this country. Now, Margaret Howell has more on some congressmen that are urging Trump to follow through with this Muslim surveillance program.
Well, that's right, Leanne. So as you mentioned, there's a major problem going on with Islamic extremism, Islamic terrorism. And we heard Trump run on the promise that he would put a moratorium on anyone entering the country from a war-torn Muslim area that could potentially be radicalized. Now, we know the president's true legacy. President Obama, his true legacy is one that in the past 8 years, it's consisted of more terrorist attacks on U.S. soil than at any other time, individual attacks in U.S. history. So we have this representative, his name is Peter King. He said that he met with Donald Trump this week, and he said that he's encouraging him. He goes, look, now's not the time to be politically correct here. We need to maintain this list that you promised. And Trump did do this. He actually promised that we would be keeping track of people that perhaps are not vetted that are entering the country in an effort to prevent Islamic extremism, one like the case you just mentioned in Germany. Now, we know that there was a case coming out, and it's cited in this article, and this is your article, by the way, that I'm using here. Leanne found this, and I'm like, we have to talk about this tonight because it is an important issue. This list, it's very controversial. It has a lot of civil liberties groups up in arms. We know that one city commissioner in New York City, for 5 straight years, he had ordered the city police to monitor mosques secretly. They found out about it because of the Associated Press. They sued effectively. So we know the rabbit hole that something like this can create and spark. And nobody is a fan of being on lists, frankly. We as political free speech advocates, we're probably on a list somewhere. Let me just say that right now. But at the same time, Trump did make these promises. Now, this goes hand in hand with something that the House is trying to do. The House is passing this microchipping law that's intended to help authorities microchip disabled people. Sounds like a great idea, right? You've got this runaway granny. She doesn't know who she is. She just wants to go down the street to the store. She can't remember where she gets lost. We hear cases like this all the time. They're called silver alerts. Now, the House, they're passing this bill that would get the federal government heavily involved in microchipping disabled people. My guess is, and it doesn't go into it, that this would be a responsibility for Medicare or Medicaid to pay for this. It seems like some kind of scheme to me. It's called H.R. 4919. And this bill is also known as Kevin and Avante's law. The idea behind it is that disabled people, they can't take care of themselves. We've got too many silver alerts, but we know that microchipping isn't all that effective. Also a case that you brought up. We've got a sex offender here who was dubbed Jaws for his predatory attacks coming out of California. He was wearing one of these ankle bracelets along with his sex offender friends, and yet he was still able to rape and murder 4 women. So
right. And they can't even keep track of their own criminals. Margaret Howell, thank you so much.
Three years ago, the Congress in the National Defense Authorization Act repealed the law that had been on the books for decades, barring the CIA and other agencies from engaging in domestic propaganda and disinformation. Over the weekend, they passed the Countering Disinformation and Propaganda Act that funds $160+ million to this new organization that will, quote, discover and counter with its own disinformation alternative media that they dub fake news. At the very same time, we see mainstream media claiming that Trump, myself, Tucker Carlson, you name it, are Russian agents, and that the American people really wanted Hillary Clinton, but the Russians somehow hacked in, and that's why Trump won. Yes, we've gotten Trump elected, but they're openly trying to overthrow that. Now more than ever, Infowars needs your prayers and your support, and I need you to take the articles and the videos that are on the site and realize you're the reason we're having such an effect. You're the power of Infowars. Get those articles, get those videos, get those special reports out to everyone you know. As we approach Christmas, I'm not even supposed to say that word now. Our country's under such incredible thought police tyranny. It's important to be thankful, and I am extremely thankful to all of you that have prayed for us, that have spread the word about the broadcast, that have supported us, that have defended us, and that have financially supported us. We go out and search for the very best products, and we also develop amazing products and then bring them to you at very competitive prices. So when we have a sale, it really is a sale. That's why this week through the 17th, we can guarantee you'll get delivery before Christmas. Again, if you order by this Friday, the 17th, and you will get store-wide free shipping at InfoWarsStore.com. And on top of that, some of the biggest discounts of the year. 30% off Living Defense Parasite Cleanse, 50% off Colloidal Silver Bullet, and free shipping. That is just an incredible deal. Brain Force Plus, now with 20% more in each bottle and 30% off. $19.95, can't beat that deal. Winter Sun, Vitamin D3, 25% off. Survival Shield, X2, Nascent Iodine, again, an amazing 30% off. BioTrue Selenium, 30% off, and that's just some of the specials. Check them out today at InfoWarsStore.com or InfoWarsLife.com, or call toll free. The great crew will answer your questions, tell you about some of the other specials, and take your order if you'd like. 888-253-3139. And finally, from myself, Alex Jones, and the rest of the InfoWars crew and my family, I want to wish all of you a blessed and Merry Christmas.